So just one more thing. Started on 1998 when Steve Jobs said, one more thing to announce that Apple have returned to profitability. It is now a famous event in itself and the audience is looking forward to it every year. The show will not be complete without this one more thing's announcement. But do you know, equally famous, at least in the 60s and the 70s, is the just one more thing catchphrase that's used by the famous homicide detective Columbo in his TV series. In his investigation, Columbo often asks a series of questions which the killer can easily answer or explain. Then, seemingly convinced that Columbo will just end the conversation and walk out of the room. And with his crinkled beige raincoat and assuming demeanor, he will send a signal to the killer that he's not really that smart and he's satisfied with the answer and, well, there's nothing more he can do. Then, after a while, he'll return to the scenes, scratching his head and just ask, just one more thing, what is that? Something. And that one will be the key to unravel the whole mystery. So what is the logic behind Detective Columbo just one more thing catchphrase and why does it work? It is because after all the investigation, the suspect is satisfied that they have successfully murdered the detective, and when Columbo leaves the room, the killer kind of like subconsciously thought they have won against the murdered, careless detective, and hence they relaxed, they let their guard down. Then only to have Columbo coming back and playing dumb and ask an unassuming question, starting with, hey, just one more thing. And the killer, they're a bit of irritated. They want to get this over quickly. And with their pride getting over their head and their guard down, now they unwittingly say something that will give them away. And now, in Apple keynote case, I believe that it started similarly to Columbo because in 1998, Steve dropped the bomb to the audience when the audience aren't expecting, telling them Apple is now a profitable company. But since then, it has been used consistently over the year by Apple and it's now become an event in itself. So the audience, the journalists, they're eagerly waiting for what is the latest one more thing. So there's no more surprise elements, but it did have the anticipation factor. So what can we learn from it for our own presentation or meeting? Let's say that you have just presented your case for a milestone meeting or a customer meeting. So at the end of the Q&A session and you are looking like you are just walking out of the room, you can just say, oh right, before I forgot, just one more thing. Will you guys be inclined to maybe like approve a small scale consumer study? Receive a sample product that we have just discussed? Or you want to place a small trial order or something like that? So usually it is a small request that seek an easier, which is in the form of downselling instead of upselling. Meaning you're looking to sell less, not more, but to ensure that you walk out of the room getting something. And usually because this is a small request, your audience is relaxed and the chance of them saying yes is high. Now, how many of you, when you seriously consider to buy something expensive, say a television, but when you're walking out of the store, you saw a good deal on your way out, and you grab it, you go home, then you regret because it's not such a good deal anymore. Go home, and you regret it because it's not exactly a good deal after all. And no, that's not what we want. No, stop. Because if you successfully make your audience buy into whatever you sell to them, whether it's an idea, approval, or funding, or real product, and you make them regret afterwards, you're breaking trust. Never attempt to manipulate, to cheat, and to break trust, and you will be out of the game. So let's use this just one more thing tactic in a responsible way with downselling your idea or products that you know that we're going to bring you bigger sales, getting your foot in the door eventually. Don't put yourself out of business by manipulating. And last thing, you need to know that if you're using this tactic over and over again, with the same audience, it will eventually stop working because just like people expecting Apple's one more thing announcement. So now, we've learned about the history, the reasoning, the application of this just one more thing tactic. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself in this learning. Oh, I nearly forget, there's another thing I need to ask you about. Can you do me a small favor? Really small. Just click the small button that reads subscribe. Oh, you did? Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to see you today and see you next week for another new learning video.